Hi, guys, and welcome back to Mystic Mamas. Or if you're new here, welcome. We are your host. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Danielle.
Why do I feel like it always takes you like 5 minutes to say I'm Danielle?
Just trying to get it. I'm just waiting patiently and like my brain
Now it's my
is
turn.
glitching this morning. Okay, it's my turn. Your line.
Oh, okay. Here we are. But today we're actually going to talk about the divine timing, guys. And I feel like Danielle and I have been wanting to talk about this topic for a while, but all in divine timing because I just went through some shit, man. And that's mainly, I feel like, what I'm going to be speaking on and throughout this podcast episode. But really, what I really want to lead it with is what is meant for you will not pass you by. And I think oftentimes we get a little ahead of ourselves and we tend to feel rushed sometimes. And by we, I'm talking about me. Something that occurred recently was that because you guys pretty much know our whole life stories, I'm just going to give it to you straight. Something that occurred to me recently was um, that my boyfriend got a job offer for, his job. What the heck am I saying? For his job in Corpus Christi, which right now, if you know, I'm in Odessa, Texas. And in Corpus Christi, I have all my friends and family. Not only that, Danielle is moving there very, very soon. And when I got that opportunity in front of my face, I was shocked. I never expected it to come this early. I knew that down the line, maybe I would be in Corpus, but I haven't thought about it this closely. And when it came to me, I was just like, wow, like this is something I really want. I can't believe I'm getting it. Like it was just such a shock. And I was so excited. And I won't say my hopes up, but I was way too excited for something that hadn't occurred actually yet. We hadn't got approved for anything. It was just like my sister found the opportunity, told me, and instantly I was like, we're doing it. And it's like, that's not how this works. First, he has to get like hired on and has to have his interview, all the things. Well, anyway, it turned out to not work out. He just wasn't offered what we thought he would be offered, and they were looking for more experience, and they were going to put him in a position that kind of put him back to where he was in square one, whereas like he has grown so much since then. He's got certificates, certifications, went to schooling, like he has grown so much, and I'm so proud of him, and he doesn't deserve to have to go back to a lower position. And so even though that's kind of a hard pill to swallow for me because like I just want to tell him, hey, like, just do it for a little while, you'll move up. It's like that's not fully my decision. And also like I feel kind of wrong doing that, if I'm being honest, because yeah, I wouldn't if I had moved up in my workplace and I'd been working hard, working my ass off, and he is a really hard worker. Here I am just talking about my boyfriend. I'm boosting him, but because he's amazing, but like he has made it to a place that's high up very quickly because of all the dedication and hard work he's put into it. And for me to just be like, hey, well, you should just go back into this older position because I want to be here is, yeah, it's just not right. And I think within all of that, I was feeling like something got ripped away from me. And Danielle, I feel like I'm talking too much. So, chime in whenever you are ready. I don't want to be telling my whole
No,
story like it's a solo podcast. But
no,
Danielle was
you're
here for me through it all.
yeah, you're going through the motions, and honestly, it's just one of those things that like I'm sad about too, but also
Mhm.
it's for you and yours. Like I've talked about it before. Told you the other day, like maybe it's not a right now, but it was something that made you more clear on what you want. Like
Yeah.
it gave you that sense of clarity and that sense of like, oh shit, this wasn't in my like immediate like vision, but now that I've had like a kind of feeling with it, like I want it. That's something that I
Mhm.
want in such a stronger way. So maybe from the outside looking in, like maybe that was the point. And that happens a lot with divine timing, right? We want something right then and there when we want it, and it doesn't work out, but it sometimes does give you that clarity. The oh
Mhm.
shit, maybe I was like 50-50 here when actually I'm feeling like 100% this is what I
Yeah.
want. And y'all can now make more aligned moves to get you to that same space, just in a different route.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is something I wanted to bring up. I love that you told me that because I feel like you like snapped me out of where I was and I was like, holy shit, this is what the universe is doing. Like now, maybe right now isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, like going to Corpus right now, but what I am supposed to be doing is just realizing what I do want. Polarity, the law of polarity, right? Polarity equals or creates clarity. And so anytime you maybe see what you do want and you don't get it, then it's like, oh shit, I do want it. Or maybe you get that thing and you're like, oh shit, I actually don't want this. It can go both ways. And I think it's such a beautiful thing that you like told me in those moments because it really did take me back to this like balanced place of, oh, okay, like you're right. I just really want this. And I don't think I ever allowed my brain to go there. I never allowed myself to go there because in my mind it was so far away. But now I'm realizing it can be closer, but I need to focus on it. And as much as I can focus on it, right? But I can inspire Fred to start looking at jobs, which he has, and he has um, more feelings and wanting to go that way too. Because I went through, I mean, because we went through that whole thing, but I mean, he was there for me. I was having breakdowns for the past like week, guys, but it's just because I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be around my friends and family, especially if you know, like as a mother, um, motherhood journey can be so isolating and lonely. And yeah, I guess I can tell the story. I wasn't actually going to tell the story, but now I am feeling like I should. If you saw my TikTok, then you know I was venting about this, but I had done a somatic dance class, um, kind of like the day after I found out that he wasn't getting the job offer, and or that he got the job offer. You guys know what I'm saying. He got the job offer, but didn't want to take it, and so I went to a somatic dance class the next morning and I did it and I felt all the feelings and I cried after and I was just kind of giving them vaguely what what was going on in my life. And one of the women, not the instructor, but one of the women chimed in and she was like, that's motherhood for you. Like that it's isolating, it's lonely, like that's just what motherhood is. And it triggered me. And I didn't show it on my face then. I just kind of shook my head like, yeah, you know, you're right. Like it is lonely. And I didn't realize why it triggered me so much until I got off of the because we were on Zoom. I got off of Zoom and I just sat with it and I was like, it triggers me so much because that doesn't have to be my truth. I don't have to identify with that truth. The truth of motherhood being isolating, I don't want that anymore. And I was about to not have that anymore, but I can still identify with it now. And I think when you think about divine timing, like we can also think about timing within the present moment because every moment is a present that you get. And I think sometimes I'm taking my present moments for granted, if it makes sense, because I've been trying to work out all the things in my head as to why this opportunity would come up for me and get taken away, quote unquote. And aside from the polarity of it all, I'm realizing that I can create what I want now. And I can, yes, it may be a little harder and it's going to take some work, but I can find a group of moms here to support me better. I can put myself out there. I can go do things I want to do. I can, yeah, just kind of get out of the mindset that I'm so lonely here when, yes, I don't have that many people around me, but I can also create community here while I am here.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Dee?
Yeah, just letting your thought finish. But no, you're correct. It is one of those things that we can kind of create in our own space, in our own right. And also, in terms of what you didn't mention, is that you had asked that day you were torn between a couple of different things. And one of them was taking on a high ticket course.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I have watched you kind of unfold and ask this question, and that's another sign of divine timing. You ask the question, should I take this right now? And it did present you another option, like,
mm-hmm,
hey, other things could be in the work, bigger picture wise, that maybe you need to hold, pause this and let things
mm-hmm.
unfold so that you can get something that you weren't even wanting
Yeah.
until it was presented, and now that's presented, and since then, like you said, Fred's been looking, he's found a different job, there's other opportunities that could come up within the next few months that allowed you to kind of like put one thing on hold and wait for the right timing for that versus this that could come up as well. And I think that's important to notice that sometimes we get told not yet, not necessarily no's from the universe or anything, it's just
Mm-hmm.
like a be patient.
Yep.
Everything is falling into place as it should, even if you can't see it immediately right now. And everything's working out in divine timing, right? But it's one of those things I know that both you and I struggle with because it's easier to take control, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
control over the situation. And I've felt that completely in my move to Corpus has been very much so a lesson in surrender and trust and divine timing. Had we done the move exactly how I wanted to begin with, things would not be falling into place the way they are now and setting us up for like even more success in our move. And when I was told no about getting the home we wanted originally, like I felt the same way, like bummed, what am I doing, what are we doing, are we just going back into renting? And then a better opportunity presented itself that is going to allow us to get what we want sooner, but like a little bit later at the same time. And I think a lot of times also whenever we're kind of denied something or prolonged, something's prolonged, it's like we want to look for the problem. Like, okay, well, how
Mm-hmm.
do we, because ego loves a good problem because it gives it the job to fix it, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, now how do I fix this? What? And then your ego gets to work on the whys and the whats instead of just like trusting that like everything's falling into place. And I know personally I struggle with that because I love to fix things, and I also love to hyper fixate on the why this is happening sometimes when it could just be. It doesn't, there's not
Mm-hmm.
always has to be some huge meaning. It's just like, hey, look, something bigger, something better is coming. And I know both of us write that in our journal, this or something better.
Yeah.
And then when it actually presents, it's fucking hard because you're like, that affirmation goes out the fucking window in my brain. I'm
Yeah.
just like, why didn't I get what I want? Why not
Yeah.
right now? And it's like, oh, because I asked for something better or this. And so maybe it's not actually getting worse. It's just the or better part that we can't
Mm-hmm.
see. And we're not even asking for it yet. Just like with this whole move to Corpus for you, like you weren't even asking for it, but now you want it. And now you can move forward on that. And it's kind of like a beautiful thing to get clarity around certain things.
Yeah. 100%. And I feel like through it all, yeah, that was one thing that it taught me was just to let go of the how, because that is not my job. And when I realized that, you know, that I am in co-creation with the universe and the universe does the heavy lifting and the heavy work. And what I do is focus on the what and why. What do I want and why do I want it? And then
Yeah.
they got the how and all the other questions. Like, I just need to sit back and it will come. No, maybe not in the time that I think it's going to come, but that is what divine timing is. It's going to come in the correct time for me. I cannot try to control the situation. I can surrender to what is. And that's what I kind of came around into my conclusion of it all was like, okay, law of unwavering faith, right? I trust that the universe is on my side. I trust that the universe has bigger plans for me that I just cannot see right now. And that's the thing. We are like viewing the world through like a little microscope while the universe is viewing the world and can see it all from high above, right? Like we cannot see all the things. We're looking at our vision through a small tunnel, while like the universe's vision is giant and huge and they can see all things, right? Whatever, God, universe, source, whatever you believe in, they can see it all. And I think sometimes it's hard for me to wrap my head around that because I want to control it. I want to know what's next. I want to know how I can get there. And kind of going back to the course situation, Danielle mentioned it vaguely, but yeah, I was trying to go after a high ticket course, a course that was going to jumpstart me into my career, to the things I want to be doing. However, I wasn't sure. I was on the fence the whole time on whether or not I should be doing that course or shouldn't. I kept asking the universe for signs. And the day that I really stuck to my guns was like, okay, universe, I want you to give me, what did I say? I want you to give me a kangaroo if I should do this course. I want you to give me a black bear if I should go elsewhere. And I guess gave me a black bear in a sense because my sister gave me that opportunity. No, it wasn't the sign yet again, right? It wasn't the sign that I was asking for, but it was a sign. And that's in general what I was asking for. And that's what it gave me. And so it's all about taking the signs as they are. And because, of course, your brain wants to be like, well, this wasn't what I asked for. So let me keep looking at it. And I did keep looking at it even after the fact because I was like, sorry, guys. I was, once we were denied that opportunity, it was like, okay, so do I do the course? Like, what was that all about? But as I've come to a conclusion, it's like, no, let's just, what it's telling me is to be patient, surrender to the present moment, and wait. Be freaking patient, Dakota. I get into, which I think is a beautiful thing, but if you are I don't know if it's actually just a generator, but if you are into human design, I'm a generator and my sacral is my gut. And so whenever I feel lit up about something, I just go after it. And yes, it can look like an impulsive decision, or it can just look like, you're excited about something. And when something excites me and brings me life, I know that's the nudge that I need to follow. And so that's what I was thinking it was. But when I also tuned in, I realized that I didn't actually have that. I just had this impulse feeling to jumpstart what I needed to do next. And sometimes when you are trying to jumpstart what you want to do next, you jump into things that maybe aren't perfect for you because you're not allowing that divine timing to come through. And I probably would have made that not mistake. I think I would have, no mistakes or failures here. Like I would have learned what I needed to learn throughout that process. But I do believe that God saved me from going down that path. And another thing that I just watched from Catherine, still going through her course, guys. But Catherine, she's just so smart. I love the way she puts analogies, and she kind of just talks about how you're in a dance with your higher self. And that's all she said. But for me, I'm like, dang, that's a beautiful way to put it. Because if you think about it, your dance instructor is God, is the universe. You, your higher self, are the person who's taking their class. It's like you trying to take control of the class when they made up the choreography. Like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't your position. Like, you don't know the next steps. Like, why are you trying to control this class? It's like, just surrender to what is and follow the lead of the universe, of God, of source, whoever you believe in, because it will allow you to dance and flow through life beautifully and effortlessly. And yeah, I just feel like when she gave that analogy, I was like, everything clicked for me because I'm like, damn, I really am trying to control this class and it's not even my job. I'm not getting paid for it.
No, I love that analogy so much, honestly. Me sitting, just taking it in real quick, but for real, I struggle with control a lot and wanting to control the situation and be on my timeline. And I lost my notes. I take a lot of notes on my phone and they're all jumbled. And this morning I was looking for one I wrote for today's course and I was like, where did I put it? But I came across an old note and like it was me struggling and getting signs that I needed to
Mhm.
surrender. And this is like from 2020. I needed to like surrender and let go of control. It's just been a lesson that keeps popping up, keeps popping up. And I feel like now finally I'm in a space where I kind of like honor it more. It takes me a little bit less time to like dwell on things where I'm just like, all right, release it, whatever. And it's the same thing with this move. Sometimes, a lot of times I get in my head, like where I think about like, what if I had made this move to Corpus earlier in my postpartum journey, like right when our first lease was up. And when I found out I was pregnant, all these questions, right? Like why? And I realized now that I needed to be kind of like alone. I needed
Mhm.
to my journey through motherhood, although it could have been elevated, yes, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? But for my personal strength and journey, I needed to be where I was at. I needed to face motherhood, kind of in my own bubble or space. I had a lot of postpartum anxiety. Being a new mom, I feel like it's very easy to uh, hear a lot of people's opinions and the way
Mhm.
they did things and their projections on motherhood, and if I would have been surrounded by people, I don't know that I would have been able to be as firm in like my own personal motherhood, how I want to mother, how I
Mhm.
am doing my parenting, because it's so different than anybody else I've ever been around, and I don't know that I would be as strong in it had I been around those outside opinions and those outside voices and all the things, right? So like you really are where you are right now, wherever that is, for a reason. And whether it's you still needing lessons to be learned that are going to benefit you in the future, or you needing to heal certain things that need to be healed and can only be healed in this container that you're in right now, or this space, or this energy, or energy alone. You could just not be an energetic match yet to
Mhm.
your desired reality and all the things you're like manifesting and calling in. You just could be like here, and you need to continue to move up here before it's an energetic match, and that way whenever you get it, you get all these dreams and desires, you keep them. It's not something you're constantly losing and trying to like chase because you're a match now, whereas you
Mhm.
might not have been a match before, and then you could have gotten what you wanted and it all been fucked up
Yeah.
because you just weren't ready to handle that level yet. And so that one kind of reminds me that like even if this isn't the path I would have chosen for myself by any means, it
Yeah.
definitely has given me a lot of blessings. I think I was talking to Dakota about this the other day, where it's just like, especially in terms of like moving, I have a lot of fears coming up because I've realized how lucky I've been to kind of be in my own bubble with my son the first 2 years of his life without having to do, I mean, he's without having a lot of outside energy to affect us and to really, even though it was harder, it's made me stronger. It's made me more resilient. It has, I was kind of more dependent on my loved ones in a different way that I ever realized before until now, where it's like I've really had to stand on my own 2 feet. I've really had to grow up in a way that I never could have imagined prior to having a child, and especially doing it alone, where like I have a partner, he's an amazing partner, but he works so often, and that is
Mm.
really what qualifies me to say that I do a lot of it alone, not by his choice or mine, just a matter of life where we're at right now. And without that experience, I don't know that I could like help as many people as I do, or even talk about as much as I could. There's a lot of things that definitely have been a blessing in this in a very deep disguise. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how.
Yeah. Even to get, I have two things to say with what you just said. Thank you for sharing. I love that. But also, I love whenever you always bring up, not always, but you've brought up the analogy in the past, how like, because, Danielle and I strive to have clients one day and be coaches and, help you guys more deeper and understand ourselves more. And she kind of talks about how like, you know, imagine if you just like today, if you had just like 50 clients show up and were like, hey, I want you to be my coach. It's like, would you be ready for that? No, I would not be ready. I would be so overwhelmed. I would be so scared, honestly. And so she's so right. Like, you are an energetic match to what you want. And that's kind of what I've been thinking about too. Like, maybe there's just a little more deeper work I need to do before I move to Corpus, because there are outside influences and energies that if I allow myself, I can go down the wrong path. Not wrong, like super wrong, but I can get swept into old patterns and things that I used to be doing whenever I used to live there, because it's easy to do that there. It's very much a town that, retirement, they're chilling a lot of the time. I don't see a lot of people working on themselves over there. But then again, I never put myself into a place where I would even find those type of people because I am that person now. So it all comes with time and everything. But that was one thing I wanted to say was just, yeah, now I'm losing my train of thought, but was just that, right? Like maybe I just need to spend a little more time with myself before I can jump and dive into Corpus. Also, that was what else I was going to say. It's just like when I think about you and ID and the fact that we've been apart, imagine if I know that we'd maybe we would still do the work in different ways, but like maybe we needed this time apart as well to do our own work deep. We've never done this deep of work. I feel like we've always been together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Speaking of, one of the things I've whacked my brain about on the why.
I know.
um, yeah, no, I will 100% agree that even though, again, sometimes I wonder why, heavy on this, because we are both stay-at-home moms now, and I think of all the times in our life where we actually needed to have the community of each other and have each other like to lean on, and not just on FaceTime calls, would be now. And so
Mhm,
a lot of time, yes, I have definitely been like, when are we going to live in the same city again, when now our lives line up in the way they do so much? Um, but yes, I think that, again, it refers back to what I was saying, that just how it was meant for our growth and needed for our growth to kind of like not be as dependent on each other, and like really have to stand on our own feet. And like with
mhm,
motherhood, even if we were in the same city, motherhood is in a sense one of those things that you go through alone, even if someone is by your side, because chances are they're not there for every night, every day, all the
mhm,
things, all the moments. And so there is a sense of like isolation and loneliness in motherhood that you can't really get rid of in a way.
mhm.
But like you were saying, like that doesn't have to be the story, even if it's just a chapter in your book right now. It's not the full story, it's not the full novel of your life. Like it's just a moment, if you allow it to be. Now I think that when we're talking about divine timing, there's also aligned actions needs to be talked about also, because you can't just wait
Yeah.
around for circumstances to change. Like Dakota right now, like she can't just like, they can't just skip over this job and just hope that, okay, maybe another day. Like now they know that what they want, they're going to have to take the aligned action steps. Keep looking for jobs, keep looking for good opportunities, stay adamant on like saving up for moving costs. That way, if something comes up, they can get like as divine timing is something that if you're taking all the right healing steps, all the right energetic moves, all the right aligned action steps, and you're staying in flow and you surrender, all these things combined will allow you to just free fall to your divine timing space where things will start to fall into place as they should. Now, if you're, I've been the type, so I'm not trying to hate, but if you're just the type that like sits and hopes, oh, it'll all
Mm,
work out. Oh, it'll all work out. Something will just land in my lap again. Something will just, but you're not doing the work behind the scenes. You're not taking those steps forward that will help you get there. Then either your journey might take a lifetime.
yeah. And it's not about in those moments because, right, divine timing, also you want to surrender to the flow. It's not about trying to and not focus on the how. It's not focusing on the how. It's just like, what can I do in this moment right now? Don't try to think, okay, what do I need to do next? And what's the next step? And the next thing, and the next thing. It's like, no, what can I do in this moment that's going to allow me to possibly get there? So, like Danielle said, Fred can start looking at other job opportunities. I can start looking at places that we could be living, things like that. So it's like, I love that the universe really created that clarity for us because it really wasn't in our plans, not yet. And now it is. And just, yeah, I'm really grateful after my whole week of crying and feeling in my feels, which you are allowed to have your feelings. Have your feelings, cry about it, think what you need to think, let it all out because suppressing it, if you listen to my last episode, suppressing it just creates more resistance in your life. So when you allow those emotions to flow through you, which literally I had 2 straight days of almost crying the whole time. And if you know me, I really don't cry that often. To Danielle, maybe the only person, but like I was crying on my own and just like really just letting it flow. And I feel so much better. And I do have so much clarity about that whole situation. And I'm grateful that we didn't get it right off the rip because we really aren't ready for it yet. But now we can get ready in this exact moment. And I know one thing that was coming up for me was I was feeling frustrated and bitter and just a lot of stress. And something that Catherine mentions is if you're feeling frustration, bitter, or stress, that you are trying to control the how. And I feel like that snapped me out of it. I'm like, I am. I'm literally trying to get Fred to recall that guy to make sure we're not gonna be able to do that job and all of these things and my sister was around that too. She was trying to be helpful. And I love that, but it's also like I'm getting all these hows when like maybe I just need to take it in and surrender and allow and focus on what I can control and not what I can't.
Yeah. It's definitely hard, and I don't want to invalidate anyone or have anyone like, it takes time. Like, it's been a week since we've had this conversation. There's things
Mhm.
like, even with motherhood, I've been in this for 2 years. There's definitely days where I would have like literally breaking down on the floor crying because I don't understand why, or why life is the way it is right now. And it's not something that like, it's
Mm.
okay, it's valid to know that like if you don't get what you want, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. It sucks, and it also is fucking hard to like think about and rewire and to let go and to like trust the process, and all that's
Yeah.
part of the process. Like, there is definite times where Dakota and I, like, this week is a prime example where both of us were just like, fuck man, like we do all the work, and both of us on one end were different, right? She's getting with corpus, and in my head I was like, oh, we manifested this because we've been wanting to live in the same place for so long, and like so much more our podcast could do. There's like so much we could be doing together for our business. There's just so many things that would be in such alignment if we lived in the same city again.
Mhm.
And it was definitely one of those moments where you're like, yeah, finally, things are like the universe is conspiring for me. Everything's happening. And it's like one of those like rare, like, I'm getting something on my vision board. It's happening. And then it gets taken, and it's very easy. Both of us have experienced it in many different time periods of life, but this one in particular, where you're just like, fuck, what is all this work for? What is that? What am I doing wrong? What is this? What, like, why?
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 Yes, literally why?
So, and then it can be discouraging. So I don't want to sit on here and just be like, yeah, every time something bad happens to me, I just rewire it and I know the lesson. Like, I don't fucking know every
And I
lesson.
surrendered. No, this has taken me a week, and let me tell
I,
you, I was discouraged as fuck, and I was questioning my whole life existence. Okay, and I felt like, honestly, like if you think about it, I felt like my inner child was coming out in the moment because like it was like something I didn't. I wanted it so bad, but I couldn't get it. I'm like, I want it, and it's like, oh, I
yeah.
can't have it, and it's like your mom just telling you straight out no, and you're like, but why? No, and it's like, but why?
Yeah, and so it's a process, and it's a
Hmm.
learning process, and it's a constant practice. And
Yes.
so one that we're both deep in all the time. And I think it's easy to kind of lose track in those moments and want to almost give up on, because, healing is an interesting thing, and being conscious and aware is an interesting process. And to, it's a beautiful thing. It really is, but it's also just heavy. And some
Yeah.
days it definitely refers back to just like, fuck, I wish I could just not. Wish I could just not be aware.
Literally. Can we rewind? Why did I go down this path? What
I
was
wish
this
I could
for?
not be so aware. And also, I wish that every time something happened, I wasn't like, okay, but what's the lesson? What am I learning?
Yeah, I know. Every time. It's like I couldn't even get over the hump. I'm like, what is this for? What lesson am I trying to learn here? It's like, just give it some time, surrender to what's going on, allow those emotions to flow and be. And
Yes.
then,
And the more you do that, the more you embody this higher self, right? And the more you
mm-hmm.
embody this higher self, the quicker you're going to be jumping those energetic timelines and like matching up to the realistic, like your, not your realistic, sorry, to your dream reality. It doesn't have to be realistic, but
Can be whatever you dream of. Mm-hmm.
it just is part of it. And it's the shitty part, and it's the hard part where it's just like, okay, you got to run through these emotions, got to trust that there is something bigger on the outside, while also validating that it fucking sucks to feel this way in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a dance within itself.
No, literally a dance within a dance. You got a dance partner inside that dance class. No, literally. And I was just gonna mention too that whenever you hold neutrality, right, that you're not gonna be always going to be able to hold neutrality, but maybe you need to get over all those emotions and feelings, not get over, but let them flow. And when you hold neutrality, it actually allows you to bring in your manifestations quicker. So holding this like detachment of like, it is what it is. I want this thing, but if it doesn't happen, I know there's something better working out for me. It allows the universe to be like, perfect. Okay, let's give you this and let's give you this. And you just flowing through life. And yeah, that's whenever that like dance portion of it really comes in, because you're not trying to control it. You're just allowing what is. And really, I feel like whenever I was going over some of these notes, I was like thinking about like, oh, divine timing has been so like prominent in our so far in this year. And I'm like, I really thought it was going to be surrender to what is, like as it has been. I'm like, wait, no, they're literally one and the same. Divine timing
Yeah.
is surrendering to what is, because you only have the present moment. Something that the Big Leap kind of talks about that I just read. He says that like another thing is like time is within us. And so just like we manifest a lot of things, we can manifest time in a sense. It's not exactly what he says, but like that's kind of how I downloaded it, was like, okay, I can manifest my time. Sometimes I feel like I'm either in a rush or I'm not, or I have all this time to go by and I'm bored, right? When in reality, it's like, what can I do with the time that I have so that it either speeds up my time or slows it down? So what are like the two things that bring me joy, right? When you really can, not two things, but what is like something that really brings me joy in this moment that I can do for myself? And a lot of the time it's, honestly dancing or working on myself. And yeah, so I'm just going to put my head down, really focus on the things that I can control, whether that be, just working harder on the, not harder, but, not harder, but just working on the podcast. I'm like, not trying to work hard, but but just working on the podcast, working on like up leveling my life, my frequency at all times, and yeah, just allowing myself to be, because I still struggle with allowing my emotions to be sometimes. We're all still working through things, but
Yeah, same on that. And also, it's there was an analogy that I think it was Rob Dial a long time ago. So do not ask me. But it's an analogy on this exact thing that kind of helped me with aligned action steps and like staying, like you were talking about. Like sometimes both you and I are guilty of like needing to accomplish every step. Like here's the goal, and now I need to work on every step, run through them instead of just like the next step ahead. And I know with Catherine we do the ladder of believability, but with which helps a lot. I'm really grateful for that. Where the Rob Dial one though, that kind of like is the one I refer back to, and I feel like I'm getting too ahead of myself, is that he talks about like when you're driving somewhere at night, like you're going on a road trip at night when it's dark, and
mm-hmm,
you put in the GPS from here to Dallas, or I am in Dallas, from here to like Corpus, let's just say from here to Corpus, put it in the GPS. I'm driving at night and I'm not looking 5, 6, 10 miles ahead. I can't even see that far ahead. All I can see is what my headlights
mm,
can are on. So you're just
mm-hmm,
looking at just the headlight distance. What is just in front of you? What is just right there where you can see it next? Because eventually you already put in the GPS where you want to go.
mm-hmm,
You'll
mm-hmm.
get there. You just have to stay focused on what's immediately in front of you so you don't crash and burn. And honestly, I've loved it so much because I'm definitely a burnout person where like I want to go as hard as I fucking can for as fast as I can and get the result immediately. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing works that way. And whenever it does work that way, honestly, 10 out of 10, it's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm,
And that
mm-hmm.
is like for whatever, you can put whatever you want in that, whether it's weight loss, whether it's financial gain, whatever. It's not. That's why lottery winners often lose all their money. It's too quick, it's too much, it's not in their right energetic
Wheelhouse,
field.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of times divine timing is laid out the way it is so that you can get to where you are going sustainably, not just a get rich quick scheme or an overnight success thing. Like it takes time and effort. Nothing is, nothing that fast is that great.
Yeah, I think that's our culture, right? We see it on social media. People went from nothing to something overnight, and it's like, oh my gosh. But a lot of the times, we're not seeing the hard work that they're putting in between. Keep using hard work, but you're not, dedicated work. That's a better word. Dedicated
Yeah.
work that they're putting in between. And so it's easy for us to be like, oh man, like I just want to do this overnight, when in reality, like that's not really how it works out. Like we got to dedicate the time, consistency to do the things that we want to do in order to get to the places we want to be. And it all starts with taking the next actionable step that you can take in this moment. And something I wanted to add on to that was Catherine does talk about that one too. And she does mention that, like, it's also like you trying to be the GPS. You put it into the GPS, but then you're trying to tell the GPS to go left or right. It's like, no, you're just supposed to go straight. And like, so it's a good way to look at it in all areas. Like, don't control, but also just look right ahead of you and not, you can't even see 10 miles away. So why are you trying to do that?
No, for real.
Something that Kelsey mentioned to me, because Kelsey is the person I did the somatic dance class with. She was on our podcast before. If you haven't listened to that episode, plug in that one right now because it's a really good one. But I was just talking to her and I was like, thanks so much for holding space for me, all the things. And she kind of told me that, like, what you're going through, the ripping away within your life, like the things that you want and you feel like you're getting it ripped away. She was like, that was something I really experienced in the past. And, it was something hard for me as well. And then I just told her, well, you have any advice for me? And she was like, something that I learned through my mentor is that the universe and you, she didn't say exactly like this, but you are in co-creation, right? You are the universe within you. And also that whenever we think it's getting ripped away, really what it is creating space for the things that we do want, creating space for the things that we do need in our life, and creating space for things that we can't even think about. Like, you can think about maybe like 10 possibilities on how you could get there, but the universe has 50 million possibilities for you that you haven't even begun to think about. So let go of the how. I'm going back to this, right? Let go of the how, because you literally can't even fathom like, think about it. Like, I never expected myself to be right here, right now with a baby and a child. That was never in my brain. And that was probably a possibility that could come true. It just wasn't one of my thoughts. And so you just never know. Just trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by. And that whatever the universe has planned for you, you don't know. Just let it go. It's a secret mission. Like, your secret mission, or you're on an
Secret
egg hunt or
mission.
something. You're on an egg hunt and you don't know where nothing is, but the universe does. That you want that golden egg? All right, look through all the eggs. Easter's coming up, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just came to my
Uh,
head.
I hate you. No, but you are right. Like, it is a secret mission, and things do unfold in ways that you will never guess. And honestly, for the better, a lot of way, and always for the better, right? Everything is
Mm-hmm.
happening for you. That is an affirmation I personally use almost daily. Like, and everything's happening for me, not to
Mm-hmm.
me,
Yes.
because I also tend to sometimes, just gonna call myself out. I get in victim mode a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I start
Same.
to feel like everything is happening to me and why, and all this egotistical bullshit. And the truth of the matter is just things happen for me. And if I look back on a lot of time periods of my life that, like, I had that mentality where I just didn't understand, um, there's been a lot of beautiful things that come from each one. So
Yeah.
truthfully, it's a hard thing to, like, think about, but to get the bird's eye view is your most powerful tool sometimes, to kind of just like get out of just your tunnel vision and look from a higher standpoint, and just kind of like trust that even if you don't see it from a higher standpoint, the universe, God, source, whatever, um, does. And
Mm-hmm.
they can see what's up ahead, and they are either preventing you from something that would have been a mistake, or a harder lesson to learn, or a lesson you've already learned and you don't need to repeat, or it's directing you to something more in alignment, something more in your like zone of genius, or any of that. It's just you can't see it right now, so it will come to you, like we were talking about with taking those divine action steps, always staying in the law of unwavering faith. Always just have faith that it is working out for you, and you can't fail that way, because it's going to eventually, with time, all play out, and you will get everything you desire as long as you stay believing it, stay doing all the like things that keep you in alignment with that thought process and with that energetic level. And then once you get there, you can't lose it if you keep going.
No, I resonate with that. I mean, you of all people know I went into victimhood for sure this past week. So yeah, I
Me
love
too,
that.
baby. uh
It's easy to do so, but coming out of it, the growth happens when you realize that, like, okay, now let's snap out of it. I have full on trust with the universe. The universe has my back at all times. I just cannot see it, keeping that faith
yeah.
for sure.
The universe definitely always has your back, and if you're struggling with that, I encourage you to look at your receipts. Look at
Mm-hmm.
your life, look at your past, look at the things you've been through, look at the things you've survived through, look at I do this a lot with financial. Sometimes I get in a very scarcity mindset because I've never again, we're going back to control. I've never not been in control of my own finances, in the sense that like I'm now a stay-at-home parent whose partner provides all the finances at this point in time, and it is difficult for me. And so sometimes I start stressing over it, and then I have to pull up the receipts. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever been under? Have you ever been without a home, without a car, without food on the table, without anything? And like, even though it's sometimes clothes, uh, cutting it, it feels like that, right? Uh, but the truth is, never. I have been very blessed in my life and very, very grateful. And even in the days where I only had white rice and butter, I was still fed. I still had moments. So really pull up those receipts. It'll allow you to kind of like see physical, like proof in a sense that you are taken care of, that everything is working out, and not just in your finances, but in your whole life. Like, it has worked out up until here. You're here. You're still moving. You're still going strong. And in my motherhood journey, that's one I cling to a lot too, because I've been through the absolute depths of the darkest days of my life, and
The
trenches,
ringer.
trenches I didn't even know could be that deep.
Yeah.
And here I am, able to laugh about it in a totally different space. And yeah, and it timed out the way it should. Everything has happened for me in that way. And so it's powerful stuff, even if it's heavy stuff sometimes, but the truth is there, that
Mm-hmm.
it is all working out for you, even if it doesn't feel like it.
Mm.
It's tough.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that reminder.
That's the beautiful thing, right? We get reminders even whenever both of us experience times of doubt. The other day, I don't know if my mom, I have dreams of a family commune, okay? If they build it, they will
I do
come.
too.
And there's this big property for sale next to my mom's house, and somebody bought it. Even though we've been
Oh, they
talking
did?
about, yeah, I don't think I told you this, but we've been talking about going in and buying this big property and like setting it up, and somebody bought it. And the
Mm.
first thing she said, because immediately when she told me someone bought it, I was just like, man, again, one of these like, we've been getting all of our shit together. This is something we've been like seriously talking about, getting excited about, and someone came in and bought it randomly. This property's been for sale, right? And of course, the second we're talking about it and executing it, someone comes and buys it. And the first thing my mom said, before I could even get the loop spiral out, she said, "But something better's in the works." I was
Oh,
like,
I
you know
love that.
what? You know what, Robin? You are correct. And so she didn't even give me a chance. And I felt like that was a universal like reminder, like from the universe, not even like from her in a sense, that just like, yo, something else is bigger is working. If something else is in the works, it's okay. And so like I didn't even like have time to be charged, because I got a reminder that like truthfully, or something better, this
Mm-hmm.
or something better. And so that's a good one to like keep, is that this or something better. And if you do write that, then be prepared for the or something better.
Yeah, I love that. Something I wanted to mention that when you just said that. Oh, I was thinking that even something as simple as like, our life lessons that we have gone through. Maybe they're meant for us to share them because maybe someone's going through something similar, or they're just learning from our lesson. And I think that's a beautiful way to look at it too. Yes, I have to go through the lesson, but at the same time, I get to help someone else, like it's a
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly.
I love that. This or something better. That's something that, Danielle, if you don't already know or haven't listened to our podcast before, that's something that we write in our journal whenever we're putting our manifestations or, mainly manifestations, right? Affirmations, manifestations, you can write at the end, this or something better, so that the universe hears you. The universe is always, always listening, guys. So it always has your back, always listening, this or something better. And Danielle, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Me too. I love this episode, honestly. This is a
Yeah,
good one.
you know what? I needed it. And that's because I came in here
Yeah.
anxious. I'm not gonna lie. I came in here and I was like, I don't even, what the fuck am I gonna say? But
I'm like,
that
you dropped some nuggets. I loved everything that you said. I'm like, yeah, that was perfect.
but that's just trusting. I feel like I have grown to trust myself and the downloads that the universe sends to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully this helps someone. And I know at the end of the day, this helps Dakota and I. So it does help someone, even if it's just
At least
us.
us.
And I'm,
Yeah.
but I know many of you have reached out and we're very grateful for y'all and all the things that y'all support with us.
Yeah. Every time.
But
Every time. I love when you guys come to us and tell us. No, I'm not gonna say that. But I'm like, don't say that. No, but I feel like sometimes we don't get it as often, and sometimes we do, But every time we do, I feel like relit up about what we're doing. And so, if you feel called, let us know your insights or downloads that you received from the episode. Before we get into all of the, I'm grateful for you being here and everything, I just want to give you the affirmation of the day, of the podcast episode that has to do with divine timing. And it is, I release control and surrender to the flow of life. I release control and surrender to the flow of life. Repeat that to yourself a few times if you're feeling it. And yeah, I'm really grateful for you guys for always being here and listening to what the hell we are going through. And just being kind and supporting us and all the things. And if you feel like you received something out of this and you don't want to share it with us, no problem, but maybe share it to a friend who you think could benefit from it, because I love when Danielle or anyone sends me podcast episodes. I think it's a beautiful way to show your love,
I do.
All right,
So
guys.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Dee. I'll let you close it
I
out.
was just gonna say thank you. Also, if you don't want to talk to us directly, please leave us a review or feedback on the actual show page. That way we can reach more people, get this out there to more of those to join our communities, and all the love. If you can talk to us directly, a share, a like, a comment, all those things help so much, and we really appreciate you. And we'll see y'all in the next episode. Bye.
Yes, we will. Bye.